When your spouse wants a divorce and you don't, it's one of the most powerless feelings that you can have. You're scared, you're confused, and you desperately want to fix things, but it seems like everything you do just makes it worse. My name is Jeff Hughes. I'm the lead attorney and CEO at Sterling Lawyers, and I've seen this situation play out with hundreds of Wisconsin couples. You're allowed to fight for your marriage, but how you fight makes all the difference. And in this video, I will cover 4 things that you can do that actually help, whether your marriage survives or not. These are steps that protect your future and your peace of mind. And yes, they just might bring you closer to your spouse. Step 1, reflect honestly. And let me tell you, this can be very, very difficult as you're going through a divorce and as your marriage is disintegrating around you. But having a clear-eyed understanding of how you have operated in the past and how you have contributed to the decline of your marriage is a key component in that first step to take if you want to have a chance to restore your marriage. Now, let me tell you, self-awareness is such a superpower nowadays. Social media has made it so everyone can simply put up highlight reels of their life, and you see all of the postings that other people are doing, and often and most often, it's simply not true. These are just the gloss, the moments when everything looks and appears great. And so having an awareness of how you have operated and how you have contributed is the very first step. So how do you get this? Well, it starts by getting feedback from people who have your best interests at heart. Asking them, honestly, help me see this. And you've got to make it a safe place for them to be able to share into you things that they have seen. Now, you can't take everything everyone says as gospel. You've got to take and pick what you find is truthful, because not everyone sees things clearly either. Pulling all of these sources together to get good feedback on how you have operated is an essential first step. And for some people, not everyone, but for some people, their spouse will just sometimes tell them quite candidly, here's what you've did that has made it hard for me. And listening to that and taking that in. But this isn't about fighting back. This is about getting a clear assessment and owning your part of why the marriage is disintegrating. Now, as you're doing this isn't about shaming yourself. That does nothing positive. It's about your understanding of the patterns and the fears that drove your decisions historically. It's about how you showed up and how that may have impacted your marriage. We've had the good fortune of working with many parties that were able to restore the marriage. And in almost every one of these cases, it started with this very first step of reflecting and taking a look. And we're not blaming and not pointing fingers, but just understanding your own part of it. Step number 2, start becoming that future version of you. And this begins with focusing on what you can control. You cannot control what your spouse is doing. You cannot control their feelings. You can't control what they say, but you can control your response to that. You can control your emotions and how you respond. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. This is really, really difficult stuff. And this takes time. It takes work. You're not going to be perfect. You don't expect perfection, but you can begin to develop the skills to hold those emotions in check and think them through and see things from a detached perspective. That'll give you some clarity on what's going on in your life. And what this looks like is you deciding what kind of parent do you want to be? What kind of friend do you want to be? Brother, sister, maybe even continued spouse. What does that look like for you? What do you want to be? And begin working for that. Now, this is incredibly hard work. It is easy for me to say this in a video, but it's very hard work to pull off. Expect that and prepare for that. This isn't just a mindset shift. It's a new way of survival and operating. Let me also tell you this, when clients have done this, it hasn't always manifested in their marriage being restored. But what it has done is it's enabled them to show up through the divorce process and maintain composure and optimize their outcome. Now, as you're doing this, your goal cannot be to change your spouse. You cannot be doing it to influence their behavior. You have to be doing it to change yourself and change your heart and how you operate. You can't be doing it for the wrong motives, or else it simply won't work. Okay, step number 3. Now, this is going to be controversial, but I have found that it works. That is this: shift your focus from chasing to serving. That's dramatically different. I have seen the more that clients chase, the more they smother, the more they lean in and grab and pull, the more oftentimes that spouse pulls more and more away. One of the hardest truths about these situations is that you cannot control your spouse's decisions. No amount of begging, texting, proving, cajoling, performing is going to change how they feel. That's not how you get through to them. You don't get through to them by being aggressive and moving in. You get through to them. You have the chance to get through to them whenever you change your mindset to putting their best interest first by serving them. That could look like 1,000 different things in your scenario, but the mindset shift has to move from chasing to serving. That is the way that you have a chance to get through and connect with their heart, to show them that you are making significant changes that are lasting and that are real. But your motive has to be in the right place for this to work. Step number 4, understand the court system and the timing of the court systems, and using that, this is a key part of it, using that with integrity. So here's what I mean by this. Divorce processes can be very long. Some counties, they could be a matter of 9 months to a year, for example. Some, they could be multiple years. And I have seen parties go through the court system, and they're desperate to save their marriage, and they want the time to effectuate this because they see a chance to do it. And they need time in order to make the changes they need to make, in order to serve long enough and to convince the other party that they have made solid, lasting, concrete changes. But they need time to do that. And so understanding the court system a lot of times is being pushed along by the parties. That means you don't push. You don't ask for court dates. You schedule things out as far as you possibly can while maintaining your integrity. You do not want to lose credibility with the courts now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you want to delay things, drag your heels as often as you can, honestly and with integrity. That's the key part of that here. So when dates are scheduled, you ask for them to be out as long as possible. When settlement conferences are proposed, you push them out as long as possible. And you do this slowly. You don't push anything at all. And you constantly are in a state of passivity, letting the other side push the case along because you need time. That's what you're after. You're after time in this case. So understanding the court system oftentimes is pushed by the parties. Many judges just don't push the cases. They let them just linger. If you need the case to linger because you need time to restore your marriage and you want to work on that, understand the court system will allow that up to a certain point. There's also no rule, no law that you have to agree. Okay? You don't have to settle if you don't want to. You could push it to the bitter end and then settle on your case if you wanted to. Now, you're probably going to irritate the judge some cases. You might irritate the opposing party, of course. But if you're doing it with integrity, with authenticity, with honesty, that's your right to do that. So understand how you can move within the court system, but it's so important that you maintain credibility, so you have to do it honestly and above board and with integrity. Now, this requires balance and wisdom because there's a tension here. This is controversial, so there's some tension here as I share this information with you. Okay, so you've got to think this through very carefully as you work through the case to do that if you need time. Now, if your spouse wants a divorce and you don't, following these 4 steps will at the very least and will help you become a better version of you, moving your maturity and your character forward. And as a side benefit, as you are going through this difficult, tumultuous time, It will ground you, improving your decisions and giving you peace of mind as you move forward, even if you don't like the outcome. At the very minimum, you will be strong enough to embrace it. You are going to be confronted with issues around parenting, custody, financial protection, and support, and many other things. And staying grounded is important, and you also need a legal strategy. And in this next video, I'll show you what to do legally when your spouse files for a divorce and how to protect yourself and not react emotionally. So I'll see you over here.